personal development, requires a bit of accountability, and no one in this world can be self-accountable. Like, there is absolutely impossible. You can have the best and biggest dreams and heaps of motivation, but eventually that dies down, and you start to doubt yourself. You're like, how is it that I've done this for 5 days straight and I can see no results? Nothing's changed in my life. And you start to doubt yourself and you start to think, oh, am I doing something wrong? Should I be doing this? Do I deserve to be someone who can do this? You doubt yourself, right? And it stems from a lack of confidence in that you can become that person you want to be, or that new identity.
Hi, this is Hot Girls Build Cults, the show where we explore the art of gathering, the business of belonging, and the people creating communities worth showing up for. I'm your host, Megan Lycan, storyteller, community builder, and lifelong people connector. Each week, we talk to the people creating movements, spaces, and communities that make you say, I want in. And guess what? You're invited. Let's get into it. Well, welcome to Hot Girls Build Cults. Today, I'm so excited. I'm sitting down with Michelle, who is the CEO and product founder at NARU. Welcome.
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited to be here. Thanks, Megan.
Yeah. So just a little bit of context. I met Michelle through, I'm currently going through the Community Collective's Cohort 8, and she's one of the mentors in the program, and we connected a few weeks ago, and I really love what she's building with NARU. So I guess a really great place to start is, first, what is NARU and what makes it different from some of the other community platforms?
Yeah, wow. Community Collective is great. Shout out to them. I've actually done their cohort a couple of times now. So I joined in cohort 3, and now I'm in cohort 8. Like, it's been 2 years. I've been a mentor, I've been an ambassador. Megan's just joined this cohort and she's amazing. I love the community that she's building around this podcast. So yeah, excited to see what comes out of it. But NARU is actually a platform that focuses on impact more than engagement. So we see a lot of influencers and industries selling courses and programs where they're kind of pushing people through a door, but not really trying to make sure people go through the whole journey with the outcomes that they're realistically paying for and they've promised to themselves that they want to get. So we're building a platform around belonging as an asset for your company and for your brand, so that you can have a community where people are belonging, like feel that sense of belonging across each other and get the outcomes they're looking for through whatever it is that you're trying to offer them. And we're really different from, platforms like Circle and Mighty Networks because we focus really closely on peer accountability. And I'm sure Megan will ask me more about that. But apparently, people feel like there's this big fear around the word accountability, that it's about, showing up perfect, showing up to your colleagues, putting your best foot forward. But in our world, accountability means vulnerability. And it means being honest with how you want to show up and being relatable to the people around you, because that's what makes people feel like, they can be a friend and they can support you. And so that's what our community platform really focuses on. And we've had not-for-profits and impact-driven programs really find value out of having a platform like that, where we look after the outcomes of those members to help them to say that, yes, they've impacted this group of people throughout this program because of our platform.
Yeah, yeah. What I think is really interesting about what you're doing, so in the community building space, there's often a lot of discussion around, engagement and belonging. And I feel like you're solving for less focused problem within community, which is the learning and accountability portion of it, which I think is equally important, but it's just not as focused on as much. So can you talk about what led you to perhaps solve that specific problem?
Yeah. So backstory behind, how we came into this community space. NARU was actually built for personal development. And I built it in Melbourne, during these awful 5 kilometer radius lockdowns. I Googled it just before this podcast. I think that's 3 miles for those of you in America. So imagine having a 3 mile radius around your house where you're unable to go out of that, not even groceries, not even to visit a friend. You've got to stay within there. You only had 2 reasons to go out of the house, which was groceries and exercise. But you could only exercise for 1 hour a day. So you couldn't pretend that you just wanted to stroll around the streets and get some fresh air even. So it was an awfully lonely time, and I think I've always been a person who was interested in, like, self-development and personal development, but I felt so, like, isolated. I could not, like, the usual friends that I would go out and do things with, like, we couldn't do that anymore. You had online communities like social media, Instagram, you could see people, like, posting what they were doing at their homes, but it was very hard to connect because people are, again, one-sided on those type of platforms. They don't show everything, which is completely fine. That's safe. But again, like, for someone who's struggling, you don't feel anyone else you can relate to. And so, like, the reason why the accountability piece came in was because I think personal development, requires a bit of accountability, and no one in this world can be self-accountable. Like, there is absolutely impossible. You can have the best and biggest dreams and heaps of motivation, but eventually that dies down, and you start to doubt yourself. You're like, "How is it that I've done this for 5 days straight and I can see no results? Nothing's changed in my life." And you start to doubt yourself and you start to think, "Oh, am I doing something wrong? Should I be doing this? Do I deserve to be someone who can do this?" Like, you doubt yourself, right? And it stems from a lack of confidence in that you can become that person you want to be or that new identity. Last time I spoke to Megan, we spoke about atomic habits, and that's kind of like the core framework around, how I think communities should be built. Because you're not just designing a program, you're designing, you know, a structure to help people build new habits. If, for example, in the community collective, like, they help people, become community managers. Their new identity when you become part of that community is you're a community manager. Whether or not you have a community, whether or not you have a thriving community, you are a community manager. That becomes your identity. And so, what do community managers do? What do they look like? Like, what type of clothes do they wear? What type of events did I go to? What type of drinks did I like? Like, it goes into the smallest, teeniest bits that creates those, relatable aspects of belonging. And so I think when it comes to how we're focused on accountability, we're focused on the aspects that people usually overlook and think that, oh, of course, it's just everyone showing up to my webinars every single week, and maybe to submit something at the end. Most people might not show up because they don't feel that sense of belonging. When they go to the first webinar, they don't feel like, oh, this person kind of sounds like me, vibing like me, because that will motivate them to come again. That will motivate them to tell someone else about it. And so these smallest aspects of vulnerability and how humans connect in real life is literally what we're trying to mimic on a platform. And most platforms just don't do it well because it's really hard. Replacing that human connection with a virtual experience is awfully hard. And humans are so nuanced in how they compare themselves to others. If you see someone sharing something vulnerable online, you're gonna feel like, "Oh my god, I'm not alone." Like, wow, it's actually okay that I've only done it for 5 days and I can't see any results. Whereas if you see someone perfectly like, "Oh, I was able to crush this, 7 days later, got this transformation." You're like, come on, that's the most demotivating thing you could ever see, like, especially journey. That's why, I've got a personal affinity to this personal development journey and how habits actually build belonging within communities.
Yeah. Before I want to get into like how your platform helps like orchestrate habit building and like what that actually looks like in practice. But first, I just want to acknowledge again, like I love the depth at which you're tackling this problem. I don't even know if I want to call it a problem, but so when you think about it, a lot of these like membership programs or when someone hires a coach, they're hiring them because they want to make some sort of like meaningful change in their life. And right now, we're not far enough into like community building where we've gotten to like the habit building. We're strictly focused on it from the point of view of like the coach or the creator. There's like, oh, I just want to make sure first that like they're engaged. It means that they're showing up. So it's like step one, make sure that you have like attendance and participation and engagement. But in order for a program to be truly meaningful for its participants, they have to like have that shift in habit, which is also tied to your identity. How does that look like in practice? Like, how do you help people become more accountable with NARU?
Thank you. So the first piece is always like, what is your intrinsic goal, like that you're here for? Obviously, like externally, you're like, cool, great. Like if you're joining a run club, like, yeah, let's be in a run club. Let's look cool and run every Saturday morning. That's not going to motivate you past the first week. You're like, come on. So we always are intentional about setting intrinsic goals. And actually, like a lot of communities that I've joined do this. Like they do attempt to ask people like, what are you here for? What outcomes do you want to achieve as a part of this community or program? Are you here to network? Are you here to, improve yourself in a certain skill? Are you here for volunteering opportunities? Like, what is it that you want to achieve? And those goals that when people do say like what they want to achieve, like absolute gold, like, they should be hammering that down on a sheet of paper on their wall and seeing it every single day because when people set goals, right, that is their intention to do something. That is their motivation in that moment that is able to sustain them. If you remind them of the goal 6 months later and ask, how did you go with that? Like they're most likely going to jolt themselves awake and go, oh my God, oh yeah, I had that goal,
Right.
it means something to them, right? Like if somebody wanted to join a run club because they wanted to rehab, or get into running or something and get into a better version of themselves, their goal could be, oh, like I want to, you know, strive to be a better version of myself so that I can be fit, with my partner who's always wanted me to like run a half marathon with him, and that goal makes it personal, right? I'm not just showing up
Right.
for running. I'm showing up so that I can potentially run with my partner at the end of the year in a race, and we can have an amazing celebration. We can do that experience together. So that goal, making it intrinsic and personal is really important. And then following up on that is the part where a lot of platforms kind of, fall apart because accountability isn't built into just a thread or a Slack channel or, like many sort of ways where you have people chatting about their goals and then everyone just like that, a whole thread becomes very isolated, like empty. Literally wind passes through by the end of like the cohort because no one's coming back to look back at, oh, whether they achieved their goals. So I think like the way that NARU does it is we make it personal, like what's your intrinsic goal? And then we give each person like a space to share it. It's almost like a workbook. Like think about, Instagram close friends, but for every single goal that you have. Like you've got a close friends for your running goal. You've got a close friends for your community goal. You've got a close friends for your gardening or cooking goals or whatever you want to achieve, right? And so you've got these groups of friends, we call them allies, who are accountable only towards that specific thing that you're doing. And most likely it's because they're interested in that as well. So
Mm.
you can't honestly, find someone who can be your all round accountability person. Like, unless you're paying them handsome money to be a coach, that
Right.
person's not going to relate to everything that you're doing, right? And so isolation kicks in because you're like, oh, maybe they don't care about me. But the person's like, I'm just not interested in running. Like, I had nothing to say. Like, and it's not their fault, right? It's your job to find a community of people who do want to run, to find friends in there to help keep you accountable in those goals and running. And so I think like when we build that accountability piece in Naru, it's more so like, what is it that you want to achieve? Who else in the community wants to achieve that specific goal? How can we then help them keep your account, give you the visibility of these people witnessing your journey? They're not just there to support you, they're there to witness it, almost in a way that, doctor keeps on checking up with you. Whether you're recovering or not, like they're still there. Like you can vouch that they will be there. And so it doesn't matter what really ends up happening. Like you could fail awfully in the first couple of weeks. Like having someone there to witness that and tell you, oh my God, like that's okay. Oh my God, it was much more challenging than you thought it was. But like, wow, you're still on your feet. Like you're still doing it. Like that's the type of witnessing that creates the sense of self-confidence and the sense of like, can do this. Like it's okay to fail. These people are like have my backs. Like I'm fine. And then to get
Right.
feet and all that. So that's the type of environment that helps people actually achieve those outcomes. And when you trickle that into the individual level, for the community admin to do all of that themselves, it's complete chaos, right? Like gonna have Google Sheets and be like, oh, you match with you, and then you guys have to talk every single week or whatever. Like that's chaos, which is why we've built it within the platform because we've seen like it's hard. It's hard for other platforms to do this. And a lot of community managers use so many extra tools to achieve accountability. Whereas that actual accountability piece needs to be built into the platform so that everyone sees that it's a part of the program and it's not just like a
Right. So to clarify, in a way, there's also just like a big social component to NARU. Let's say I'm a part of multiple communities. Would I use NARU for all of them? Like for the accountability? Are you just talking about the accountability piece is within one community, but you're assigned or you have your overlapping interests with people within that community? Can you kind of like unpack that like a little bit? I'm trying to imagine it.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, so if you were to log in on Naru right now, you would see that we have a few communities that you can join. So it's a bit like a Slack, a bit like Mighty Networks, where you can browse, like it's a bit like school as well. You can browse like what types of communities you want to join. And these include, personal development communities, design community, like career communities, all sorts of things, right? People that we've partnered with to bring their experience on our platform. And if what they do aligns with your specific goals or something you're interested in, you would then join those communities and then see what they have to offer, see what their programs are about and see who these people are. But then within that community, we've seen this as well. It's most likely that once you find your people, you're going to want to, do a couple of things in that. You're going to want to share about your goals, like try to then find people to keep you accountable across those goals. And then if so happens that those people also enjoy a bit of running on the side or a bit of, market shopping on the side or thrift hopping, whatever, like then you're going to want to do those events as well externally with them. But what Nara allows you to do is kind of have those two things together. It doesn't just have to be about the learning or the program that you want to achieve or, upgrade your skills in community building. It's that within this community management community, you can also find people who loves reading books. You can also find people
Mm.
writing. Um, there might be different people. There might be different smaller subsets of people, but we essentially look at your whole community as subsections of who are these circles that we can bond together over similar interests. It doesn't just have to be the outcome of, I want to go through a cohort. It could be similar interests in both in Melbourne or we're both in Seattle or wherever, or where, love running and we're in different areas, but whatever, like I love talking to this person about running. So those smaller communities within a bigger community creates these bonds of attraction, where people are now knowing each other because of a certain interest. And so if that wider community said, hey, we're bringing all our alumni together for this annual, webinar and celebratory around our anniversary, all these little people within their smaller communities are going to say, are you joining? Are you joining? Or I'm going to see you.
Mhm.
Like, let's go together. Like, then everyone creates the momentum without you to attend that huge event or to do that big thing that you want to do as you're head of the community manager. So,
Right.
yeah,
Yeah, I think like a really good sign of a healthy community is when there's like organizing and lots happening like without you being there.
that's like I would say
'Cause
that's the key thing that you'd want to measure, like how much of the conversation happens without you and how they're able to do that systematically without you having to match them or put them together in the same room, force them to talk. Like, you can do that a little bit at the start, but most, ideal world is it happens organically because you've put the right people in the right room and they're able to share about, their identities and like what they do. And somehow it just rings true for everyone as well. Like people are able to say, "Oh my God, I agree." Like, yeah, yeah, I love that too.
I've been a part of a lot of different communities and something I've been really thinking about is just like, yeah, like what does accountability look like in some of the other programs that I've been in? And I feel like what's currently broken in a lot of communities is like sometimes it's treated more like a fan club where it's just like the coach or the creator is just educating the community, but like there's no really encouragement to like for the members to get to know each other. And I'm part of this like newsletter club right now, which I actually absolutely love. You're so intentional about the way that you've been going about building Naru and like community as a practice. Like from your point of view, what do you think people fail because of lack of motivation or because they lack the structure and clarity on how to actually show up?
Again, like motivation will only get you one day in. You can wake up and feel super motivated, but you can't rely on that every day. Like, it's impossible. If you interview like athletes, like people who's done something consistently their whole lives, like they're not just thriving off a quote on their wall. Like, they're thriving off discipline and structure. It's not like, oh, I feel like showing up. It's that, oh, I need to. Like, that's just what I do. I'm someone who shows up. Reframing that terminology to say that's a part of your identity. I am someone who just shows up. And so that structure, I think, is what communities like. That's their superpower. Like, you've got this
Mm.
group of people who are vibing off the same problems. Give them an identity. Like, tell them that you guys are the type of person who does X, Y, Z. You guys are the type of people who join my program and leave running thriving events or thriving programs, or land a job, excel your next interviews, run a half marathon, or, bake like bread. I don't know. Like, I'm going off in tangents.
Right.
But like, you give them that sort of identity for them to feel like it's not a choice. It's not the motivation that needs to kick in. It's not the weather, the light streaming through the window in a certain angle that might kick in something to make you feel motivated. It's their identity. If you identify yourself as a runner, like, I am an athlete, I am a runner. I'm the type of person that goes and invests some money into some nice shoes because I'm just a runner. I'm someone who shows up 7 o'clock in the morning to run 1 kilometer every morning because I am a runner. So when you give the identity piece to people and you give them the structure to create those tiny little habits that, again, support the identity,
Hmm.
it just makes it really hard to like break away from. And people call them cults. They're like, oh my God, you've joined a cult. Like, you guys are all doing things. And, you can never spend this day doing something else ever. And you're like, but that's fine with me. Because regardless of what you call it, that's who I want to be. If I
Yeah.
join a community wanting to be a runner and they give me the identity of a runner, and then my friends like, you're going crazy, you're just doing too many runs every day. So be it. Like, your
That
friend
was the
isn't
goal
gonna.
that you set forward to. It seems
Exactly.
like
Exactly. Yeah. And that's where I think a lot of people try to like make the people around them support them in these incredible new journeys that they want to be on. When if they don't have the same interests and the same purpose and that same identity as you, it's okay that they're not vibing your new habits or journeys. Like, that's okay. Like, you can have friends for different aspects of your life. Like, that's how you can have healthy boundaries around, not comparing yourself to everyone as well. So I think when you join this community and eventually you find new friends to help support that identity, that's the superpower. That's the structure that keeps on giving you that consistency day after day. And then once you've got that, 1% growth every day, you've got exponential results within the next year, 2 years, 5 years. Like, maybe you become a leader within that community. Maybe you become, an ambassador or a mentor. You teach other people about how this structure works. And so you become a part of that structure to help more people go through that sort of experience.
yeah. Yeah, I was gonna say, like, I think another really good indicator of a healthy community is when there are mentors and ambassadors and people that are returning to like support the cause.
Yeah, 100%. And, I think communities that kind of want to use the more kind of OG word would be, oh, you've got good retention. Yeah.
Mm.
You've got you've got a nice referral system. It's like, I guess that's the outcomes that you want to see on paper. Like, that's the nice metric that you can write on a website and to tell, investors or people who you want to partner with. But inevitably, it's not just like, hey, everyone, you must refer a friend. Like, come on. Like, if you don't give them a reason to refer, if you don't give them a memorable experience to say that was the best go I've ever done in my life, like, they're not going to talk to anyone about that. Like, it needs to be, again, it needs to come from within. Like, if I join a community and I was able to achieve that goal that I've always wanted to achieve, suddenly I'm telling my mom, my grandma, I'm telling everyone about this.
Right.
It's not just like you need to pay me or give me a 10% discount in order for me to share. Like you've impacted my life. Like, people go through transformative experiences and they become someone new. Everyone around them is going to notice that, and they're going
Right.
to say, oh my God, Michelle, like, wow, you're a runner
What's
now.
your secret? Like, you've
I know
completely yeah,
you've
you've
blown
gone after
up.
your goals, yeah.
Yeah, you've transformed. You've become like really cool in this like weird way. Like I've never seen you do that. And you're gonna say, yeah, thanks. That's because I joined this community. If you want to do that
Mhm.
too, if you want to like get the same transformation that I did, come join this community with me. Like I'm now an ambassador there because I've loved it. And that becomes your natural word of mouth referrals. And retention is already there because I'm like, I never want to leave. These are my people. Like, how dare I leave my people?
Yeah.
And my friends and these people who's helped me achieve my goals. Like I want to be there to help other people achieve their goals too. And so, like, it naturally falls into place when you understand that when you're building communities, you're changing people's lives and you're bringing that impact down on the intrinsic level. Referrals, retention, daily active users, how much they're commenting, all of that stuff falls into place because it becomes organic. Like, did humans
Mhm.
ever need to be taught how to make friends? Like, communities existed way before these platforms did. Like, we had communities in tribal like times. Like we
Right.
had communities, we had communities around a certain neighborhood, we had volunteer. Like even now today, communities actually exist way beyond this online, platform experience that we're all experiencing now. And honestly, this is only like surprisingly or not surprisingly, it's only peaked in loneliness because we're now over relying on these platforms to do our connection for us. Because these platforms, again, they're built around algorithms. They're built around making sure you spend a lot of attention on, their content. They're built around making the most sales for the people who benefit off the algorithm. They're not built for connection and belonging. And when
Mhm.
you go out there and join a local volunteering group, you're going to feel way more belonging than any of these online communities. And like my whole purpose is like, why is that? Why
Yeah.
that these online communities can't do it as well as these prehistoric,
Well,
communities.
no, you just said it. It's because the whole purpose of these platforms are to, generate revenue or like make shareholder value and like increase engagement. And it's so funny because what do they say? Like, we're more connected now than we've ever been, but we've never been so lonely. But I want to say, I think like a lot of platforms struggle with creating belonging in the same way when you go to a networking event. You know if a networking event is there to provide value or if everyone's just there to like share their business cards and like you can tell like you're right out the gate like if this person is being genuine or not and you get that same feeling from a platform like is it really intended for me to like make friends here or is the company I don't know taking something from me like
Mm,
where I'm staying on it for hours like I don't know.
well, that's the thing. Like, if you don't see a product, you are the product. Um,
Mhm.
and I like my years before community building, like I still am a product designer. Like, I know how these companies get you, and I study it really hard because I'm like, I don't want to do that in my platform. Like, I want to make sure that I use these social hooks, like dopamine boost because someone liked your post or whatever to be actually productive for you and not to kill your brain cells. Like, I want those natural, human built, wired in brain systems to work for you and not against you. Like, within, TikTok, like after 5 scrolls, you're literally playing a slot machine about what's going to be next. Is this next
Right.
be something that I want to engage with? And the algorithm is constantly trying to push you better and better content because it's what keeps you on the platform. But is it what helps you stay connected and actually achieve some goals that you might have seen? Oh, this person's really productive. Wow. 5 tips. Okay, next. Oh, 3 tips. Oh, next. Oh, this person has a cool new look. Is that like, are you moving towards that new, goals that you're setting for yourself inherently? Like you're not, you're scrolling. And I think these platforms are like, I don't care. Like, I don't care. Like, I've got my shareholder value. I've got my money. I've got my influencers pushing all these algorithms out. Like, I'm happy, but the people on those phones are not. And
Yeah.
eventually it becomes this like epidemic of loneliness where people feel like, again, as you said, they can connect with anyone in the world. They can connect to a random person in Amazon forest from the homes of Melbourne. Like, you
Yeah.
can really find anyone you want, but that overwhelm of information and of choice means you don't actually find anyone. You don't
Mhm.
feel like you've got a very special relationship between you and another individual. So again, like the aspects of mental health when it comes to what these platforms are actually doing to this generation growing up on these platforms, which again promise them belonging, promise them, oh, you're going to find inspiration for your career, promise them, oh, you're going to be the next cool person in the room. Promise them, oh, you're going to know the best outfits to wear. Like they're promising them all these social
Mhm.
dopamine to say, oh, I'm going to be popular. I'm going to have everyone love me. I'm going to be like the cool thing. And like at the end of the day, you're the complete opposite because you haven't actioned anything towards actually
Yeah.
that true.
I think a perfect example of this is dating apps. Because, I mean, okay, so the last time I was on a dating app was 2016. I'm now single again, and I recently downloaded an app just to see what it was like again. And it's changed so much. Like, I think when they initially rolled out, like the goal was to connect you with someone else, like a potential partner, and the goal was to get off the apps because you found your person. And now the way that they monetize it is like you can't even like see people, or like you have to like pay to like super like someone or like see more people in your area. And it's just so gamified in a way that like they want to keep you on the apps and paying as much as possible and not meet your person, like
Yeah.
it's the exact opposite of why you're on there.
They wanna keep you asking like, "Oh, what if? What if there was someone better? What if there was someone who ticks all these boxes that another person almost ticks but doesn't fully tick?" Like, "What if
Yeah.
it's my Mr., Right on this platform?" Jeez,
It's
like,
like, 15 guys like you right now pay to reveal who they are. I'm like, why aren't they just in the normal swiping part? What?
it's so yeah, I have this huge love-hate relationship around technology and, like, what it actually does for people. Like, on one hand, I'm like, "Yeah, great." Like, you can meet people who's, like, not in your area. You can find people from, you know, a country you've always wanted to visit to, like, you wanna, like, settle down or live there, or you can find friends. But, like, at the same time, there is this really fine balance that most platforms, like, they don't try to keep that balance anymore. They're just, like, push the buttons to make them more profit, push the buttons to make it harder and harder for these people to stop paying, which means not achieving what they wanted to get out of the platform. If you turn around and said, this doctor is giving me these pills so that I'm not getting better, so that he can keep on charging me to pay for these pills, you would sue that doctor. You would sue the hell out of that doctor, right? Because you'd be like, your profit is not worth my life. Like, your profit is not, your money is not worth my well being and my lifespan. And a lot of these platforms are like they're doing that without even
Mhm.
making these people aware. And it kills me. Like, it kills me so much because I just think, like, again, like there's this trend where people are now seeing, like, AIs everywhere. These huge technologies are making an alternate reality on their platforms. People are buying into the alternate reality. They're thinking this is the truth when it's really not. Like, the outside world is actually a lot different to what people think it is when they've spent hours on their phones. And at the same time, it's like you need to now know how to now balance that. Like, you can't be completely offline. Yes, like if you want to have a business, if you want to have a community, if you want to find your audience and your members, like you need to be online one way or another. Like, that's the hard truth. But at the same time, like, how do you let it not get to you? And how do you not let it not get to your members? And how do you, like, find your members where they are, but then bring them out of that system
Mhm.
to a safer place where, you can foster that growth and belonging and all the right signals for a human being to feel that genuine connection. So it's a really tough game right now. I can't deny it. And yeah, AI being like this huge, motivator for a lot of people to say, I'm going to now be able to do so many more things with AI. I'm going to have so many, I can do my marketing, I can productivity, this and that. Like, yes, that's great, but think about what is it that you're replacing? Are you replacing your human connections? Are you reaching out to your members with AI? Do they deserve that? Like, do they deserve to be speaking to an alternate reality rather than a
Mhm.
human being? You know, can you
Yeah.
it's an ethical question. People use AI as a therapist nowadays, and it's like I guess people don't have a choice. Like some of them, they can't afford them. They're like, I just want to ask some questions and feel good about myself. But we've also seen a huge increase in suicide rates because of that. So ultimately, you're thinking, what is the cost? Like, does it cost everything? Like like convenience and, AI being able to do everything for me. Like there is a cost to that. And what
Mhm.
really
It's
replace?
free up front, but there's a long-standing cost. It's like, yeah, finding the right application for AI. Don't get me wrong, like, I love, like, vibe coding and playing around with, like, the
Mm,
opportunities that you can use AI for, and I like to see when people, like, will automate things so that they can spend more time in real life with real people and humans, but, yeah, in this context, like, I hate to see communities that are leveraging AI as, like, a way to connect with, like, the community manager, like, as a replacement for them. I'm like, "No, like, that kinda defeats the purpose of your business." I'm mostly thinking of it in, like, a coaching context. Like,
mm,
if I hired you as a coach, like, something about you and your story resonated with me, and I feel like I have something to learn from you. I don't wanna talk to AI. I
yeah,
wanna talk to you.
yeah. Yeah. And because, AI is perfect or AI tries to be like it on the outside, they want to give you the most perfect version of that answer. But real humans, we are so imperfect. Like, and that imperfection is what creates that vulnerability. When you
Mm.
go to a coach and they're like, oh yeah, like I know what it feels like to be in that position, or I've had a similar situation myself. And it could just be another peer. They don't have to be a coach you're paying for. It could be a friend. That helps you create that permission to be okay with that. And that's not something AI can ever replace because you can't feel like you're connecting with AI when their literally algorithm is to just tell you what you want to hear. Like sometimes you do need friends and family members to tell you like things that you don't really want to hear. Things that are a bit more realistic. Things that are like, a kick in a side to kind of wake you up from some reality. And that motivation is they care for you. Like they care about your growth and your well-being more than their relationship and how they seem to appear on the outside to you. Like they will tell
Mhm.
you the hard truths. And I think in communities where feedback is given and shared, all the time, like that really creates strong engagement and strong growth within these members. Because again, they're getting feedback from people who's done it before or who's currently doing it, and they're telling them like, "Hey, you're on the right track," or like, "No, actually, have you thought about this?" And that's what creates value for you. Because you could always ask ChatGPT. It would be easier, like 3 seconds. "What do I do if this happens?" Bam,
Mhm.
answer. What are you gonna do with that question? You're gonna ponder and be like, is that true? Is that false? Oh, should I really do that? Oh, that actually looks really hard. Maybe I'm not gonna do that." Mm, you kind of forget about it. But then if someone you've asked like a community of people, you ask a group of people, they're like, "Oh, what do I do if this happens?" And they're like, "Oh my God, that's actually happened to me before. This is what I did." You're gonna be writing notes. You're gonna be like, "Oh my God, this actually worked for you. Like, let me try that
Mhm.
out, Let me search that up.
Mhm.
Let me talk to the person you're referring me to." And it becomes this trust and network where you're like, if you achieve those results or you were able to go through that specific problem, like I will be able to do that too. Like you can't
Because you
define
can,
that.
like, see yourself in them.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's the relativity of, if because I can see myself in your shoes. We've got a shared identity. We're the same people. It's not like I can't relate to you. You're just Elon Musk telling me things. You're like, no, you're a person who's in my community who's doing the same things as I am. So if it works for you, it works for me. And if you can do it, I can do it. And same goes
Mhm.
likewise. If I can do it, you can do it too. So that's the relativity that you can't really measure, but it just like that's what humans are built around with any like schooling system, community system, like that's what people are hardwired to be able to do.
Yeah. As we talk about, stepping into an identity and encouraging vulnerability. How is NARU set up to kind of support those journeys?
So, like, we've had parents come up to us because the teenage children, kids, have been part of a program on NARU, and they've asked us, like, "Oh my god, like, who owns this platform? Like, what happens to the data? And, why is it that my kids are, like, on this platform and, not the other ones? And I guess the other ones are, like, dangerous, but, like, what is it that you guys do?" And we're like, we literally just give you a space. Like, we give you a space on the internet and we seclude it. It's completely private. Like, they're in this community, but they're not in another community. They can't see any algorithms. We're not pushing them random content. They're getting notifications, yes, but it's from people in their cohort. So they care about those people. They know these people. And, like, especially when it comes to, like, their goals as well, like, if you posted something as a progress check-in about your specific goal and someone else in your community is like, "Oh my god, like, congrats to you," or like, "Go you, like, that looks great," like, that's a notification that we'll share with you because that will motivate you to come back and work on that goal. So,
Mhm.
again, like, what do we do different to other platforms? A lot. But what do we do similar? We use a similar dopamine systems. We use a similar kind of social cues and everything, but we just don't make it dangerous. We make it safe.
Mm.
So
Mhm.
I think it's a fairly simple platform. Like, if you look at it, you'd say like, "Oh, it looks a bit old school. It doesn't have fancy AI features." And like, yeah, that's the point. Like, that's the whole point. Like, the whole point is not to make things overly complicated, and to give people a safe space where their parents can feel safe to have their kids be using a platform for them to be engaging with their peer group and get the results out of it. Like, I don't know if you know, but in Australia, we have an under 16 social media ban. Um,
Mm.
so it means everyone under the age of 16 can't create new accounts on social media. It includes like YouTube, TikTok, like a bunch of other things like Instagram. Um, that doesn't prevent people who already have accounts from continue using their accounts. And it also doesn't, it doesn't completely restrict people from like lying about their age. Like, that's just going to be the case. But
Sure.
a lot of parents have actually come to us and said, "Oh my god, like, you guys aren't social media. Like, you're a community platform, but you give people the same feeling of you're connected with your friends. You're posting about your goals. You're like asking people like for feedback and all that, like they would in a social media platform, but in a completely much safer space where
Mm.
you've got a community manager moderating the whole thing. You've got a course or a program which outlines like, this is your journey, like, this is what you're gonna do. This is the program we're going to go through. Everyone set their goals for this program, right? And then let's check in on each other every single week. Post, 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 comment, 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 support, support, support. Finish the program. People are still chatting with one another. Like, they're like, "Oh my god, like that's cool. Like, can I work on that with you?" Like, so much collaboration has happened on just a simple program being run on something that's built for that accountability. And people have collaborated, like literally met up in real life and said, "Oh my god, like, I want to do something with you." Or, "Can I help you with something that kind of like practices my skills and you get something out of it?" Parents are like happy with that because they're like, "My kids love this program. Like, they can't stop talking about this program." And these kids are using DMs feature like so much. Like, I'm just like, why are they DMing each other randomly? Like, our DM feature is there, is adequate, but it's not like, can't replace it with like WhatsApp and stuff. But it's just like, it's
Mhm.
peers are already designed to have a conversation around, these things that they're doing that's similar. So of course they're going to talk to each other about it. So it's very natural when you think about it. Like, something like this should have existed, like, right even before social media became a thing. But
Mhm.
the sad truth is, like, no, like, we were brought up to think Facebook was gonna be the next thing for friendship. Instagram was gonna be the next thing. TikTok was gonna be the next thing. And then
Yeah,
we were
they're just like
going to
galleries. Like
forget
you're not they're
forget.
not really designed for, they're not really designed for connection. Like yeah, you can like comment and by the way, my favorite part of TikTok is the comment section. But I mean, it's not really meant for like true connection. It's a gallery, you're just observing other people live life. It's there's nothing yeah,
Yeah.
community based about it. Like the only like forum that's similar or I mean, only social media platform that I guess is that does kind of foster belonging is stuff like Reddit, you know, where there's an
Yeah,
actual conversation
and do
going,
you
like a
know why
Q&A
Reddit
format.
yeah, and do you know
Yeah.
why Reddit actually wins above everything? above like in terms of the social like content platforms is
Because it's
because
so simple.
everyone's anonymous.
Yeah, yeah.
Do you realize that? Like, you've got two spectrums, right? You've got like when you're friends, like, you know, hill in the middle, like people you really know, like real life, like you know these people, you're gonna trust them. That's fine. Like they're your family members and your friends. People who are anonymous, somehow there's some sort of affinity. Like you're able to share anything and everything because you're anonymous, because you don't know each
Mhm.
other. You don't care what they think about you because they don't know you and they can't find out who you are. Whereas in the middle, we've got those awkward networking events and like those awkward
Yeah.
interactions. It's like you don't really know me, so I can't be like too out there. I've got to be a bit reserved. I've got a reputation, but then you got to know me a little bit. So then I want to be a little bit vulnerable, but I can't be too vulnerable. Like you've got this really awkward, like in the middle where you're like, oh, they kind of know me, but they kind of don't. And so I've got to put up a really perfect image in case they know me. And then, I'm unable to kind of crack that because, like, I'm trying to maintain this kind of image of myself. So it's like everyone's like in a magazine, like people are looking at you like, who are you about and judging you based on your photos and like the things and how many likes you've got, how many followers you've got. Like, all that becomes a social comparison because you were in this awkward middle. Whereas
Yeah.
if like TikTok or Instagram, they made it completely anonymous, I kid you not, people will be way more on this spectrum. If they made it only about close friends, they didn't show you any influences, you'd get people sharing vulnerable things too. Like Be Real, for example, or I think Snapchat back in the days was supposed to be like that. Like you've got people being really authentically themselves. But in the middle, you've got this awkward, like fake it till you make it stage. Like people
Yeah.
playing with their identities, like, oh, am I this or am I that? What do I want to be seen as? Like, we're not actually all built to be spread out on a magazine. Like, that's not our careers. Like, if people actually wanted to be an influencer, that's great because they're the perfect platforms to like build that influence. But most of us are there to just find people to connect with. And
Mhm.
unfortunately, that's not the platform's priority. So they're either gonna force you to like try to post some reels or post some content to try to find some sort of following and then yeah, make you like an influencer in a way, make you feed the algorithm of like marketing and selling products. And that's kind of how you succeed on those platforms. So again, doesn't help you when it comes to, feeling connection and vulnerability.
Yeah. You've just, like, validated my experience so much on, like, previously struggling to show up on different social media platforms, and you've given me a lot to chew on. I'm gonna circle back with thoughts that I've had after this episode. I guess, is there anything that we haven't covered that you'd still like to discuss about Nauru or just, like, community as a whole? Like, I feel like you're a really good measure of, like, the landscape at whole, like, what's working, what's not working. But yeah, does is there anything else you'd like to kind of continue discussing on that realm?
Mm, I think we've covered really wide ground. Honestly, I can't like I just came here to chat. So, like we yapped about everything and anything. I'm happy with what we've talked about. So I'm happy to
Yeah,
take it where you see fit.
yeah. I'm curious, what kind of communities are on Nauru right now?
Yeah, so we have communities mostly driven by non-for-profits because they get money to like impact a certain community of like an audience. So we've got an Asian Australian community for climate solutions, very big,
Hmm.
and they're on a community right now with a program called the Wealth Solutions Club, so helping people churn their super money and the money sitting in banks to more climate friendly, ETFs, investment options. So that's a program that's currently going through NARU at the moment. So you've got people talking about like how they're using their super money. It's a bit personal and very sort of private as well. So the aspect of like the social accountability, privacy is really, really helping them. And again, like with non-for-profits, usually they get a bit of money to run a program, but they do need to see the impact of it. So they can't just rely on something like Slack channel to say, oh, this person messaged a few times. Like that's not really impact you're measuring.
Right.
Yeah, giving them those goal setting options for the members to say like they're, reaching their goals and not reaching their goals allows this program to make that better and better in the future. We've also currently got the program for the young people. We ran that last year with a group of young hobby artists who were really excited to like sell their art. So they joined a 6-week program with a organizer called Future Minds Network. So they do programs for young people to teach them about entrepreneurship and like how to level up their career. And these young people were basically like, oh my God, like I do art, but I don't know how to sell this. And I don't know my pricing. I don't know my branding. I don't know my, my website or how I'm going to set up my art in a market stall. So that was the whole gist of the program. And that was the cutest and best program I've ever seen. Like we had like a mini market stall at the end of the program. And I came to the market. So I just saw everyone's arts and I saw like,
Wow.
printed out brochures that they've been posting on NARU as well to get feedback. They're like, "Oh, do you like this design better or that design better? Or is this too expensive?" Like, "Oh, I don't want to be charging so much for it." I'm like, "No, charge more." Like, as an adult, I'm like, "You should be charging more than $8 for those earrings." Like, come on. um, and so these kids were selling them in real life, and I was just like buying, buying, buying. Like, wow, like they're so amazing. And so I was sharing them with some friends as well. Like, here's a gifts. So that was a really cool program. And then they've come back to us to run future iterations of that same program. So they actually got funding from the government to run that program because they wanted to improve, kind of leadership skills, entrepreneurship skills around a certain regional area in Melbourne. So this was like a marginalized community that got a bit of funding to create that program. So they got the funding again this year and they're running that twice with the other councils. So that's been a really positive program and outcome for them. And then we've got, yeah, like all sorts of things. We've got a design program in Nigeria happening, a design program in UK happening, like two separate programs, learning, teaching people about design skills and how to like create a portfolio and work on some projects to like showcase to get a job and interviews. But yeah, mostly just like young people programs because I think a lot of young people nowadays, like especially the Gen Z, they feel so uncertain about the economics of the world and where they fit in as a puzzle piece to get a job, to, do their own thing. So these programs are not only giving them a space to like learn, but it's giving them that confidence that they need to really show up.
Yeah.
I'm like a designer, like I'm here to, work on design skills. Like that identity piece is like, again, really important to give them the permission to be like, oh, I've got the confidence and I know how to show up because I'm a designer in this community. So I think for a lot of young people who are a bit like frazzled and bedazzled on social media all the time, like these programs are doing so much for their mental health and their confidence and obviously their education as well. I always want to leave education as the last piece because that's definitely something that everyone has access to. Like you can't say, if you have access to ChatGPT and the internet, you can learn anything you want, but there is how many of that information is going to be applied, and
Mhm.
can you actually ask for feedback on in things that you're trying to do. So that community is what people are getting so much value from nowadays because they're not just giving you the information, they're giving you the structure and the accountability and the peers and the mentorship to use that information to do something in this world. So yeah, that's the type of successful and cool communities that have been on our platform.
Sure, and in this day and age, like, in the way that, like, community has evolved, you're right, like, education is the smallest piece because everyone's got a resource library these days. Oftentimes, users are overwhelmed and don't even visit the educational pieces. I think what you're addressing is the most important part. I think right now I mean, engagement is a good start, but really at the end of the day that we're there for impact and, like, change. Yeah, I love what you're doing. How can people, follow you? Can a community get involved with you?
Yeah, easy. Like just go on our website, book in a call with us. I'll be there to kind of strategize with you to figure out like what type of programs you want to run. If you're already using a platform, how we can help you migrate off that for like the outcomes that you'd like to achieve on Naru. And yeah, so easy. We can launch something within like a week or two if you've got everything, under control. If you don't, we're happy to work with you to kind of strategize what that looks like. So we've got a 3-month trial on our platform at the moment. So we're trying to get as many people to use the app for 3 months with their community. So it's both an app and a web app, by the way. So we started mobile first because again, like young people are on their mobiles, they're on Instagram, so they can be on Naru on their mobiles. Yeah. But we've got a web app for people who like to watch things on YouTube and also have a community on site. So yeah, like it's really simple. It doesn't break any bank accounts. Like we've got a very relatively decent trial program to help your community build the habits they need. Again, it's for 3 months. So it takes 3 months to build a habit. And that's what we want to achieve for you guys and your community. So if your members are there to like get an identity shift, get a transformation in, and you want to see how NARU can help you do that, like feel free to contact me through our website or even connect with me on LinkedIn to have a chat.
Amazing. Appreciate you so much today sitting down with me.
No worries. And thank you for all these amazing questions and your curiosity to learn more and your hosting. It was incredible.
Yay.
Thank you.
If this conversation lit something up in you, this is your sign. Share the episode, start the conversation, build the thing. And if you're creating community, hosting gatherings, or building spaces people actually care about, I want to meet you. I'm Megan Lycan, and this is Hot Girls Build Cults.